is going to be that by which we are able to regulate our moral virtues. And if we think about this, just spend a second thinking about this. These are habitual dispositions. I used to be in the habit of chewing my fingernails. I didn't even notice it when I was chewing my fingernails. I'm a smoker. Half the time, I don't even notice I've lit a cigarette. Right? I go to light a cigarette, I've already got one going. It's a habitual thing, right? I don't even think about it. That annoying little tick that you've probably noticed in my speech, right? Right? I don't even notice I'm doing it. I'm not conscious of it. But Aristotle's telling us that we should do these moderate actions habitually. Right? Not deficient or excessive ones, moderate ones. How do you even know you've got a habit? How do you even know you've got a habit? It's going to be an intellectual virtue, right? That is going to reflectively exercise reason through prudence or practical wisdom. What does this mean? Prudence or practical wisdom? It's common sense, horse sense, right? It's the sort of thing that allows you to choose the best means to attain your ends, right? How do I get from point A to point B? Do I walk? Do I take a bus? Do I take the tube? Do I drive? Do I bum a ride off a friend? Do I just send an email instead of going? What's the best thing for me to do? What's the best means to achieve my end? That's one of the things that prudence does. The other things that prudence does, or practical wisdom does, is points out to you when you have one of these excessive or deficient vices. A vice is a vice because it prevents you from getting what you want. It gets in your way. Like I say, I used to be a horrible public speaker. So what Aristotle is talking about, it was horrible. Right? And I knew this is what I wanted to do as a career. Right? And it wasn't my habitual disposition to the emotion of fear resulting in an inability to speak publicly that told me that this inability to speak publicly is going to be a problem. It's going to be common sense. I want to be a philosopher. Right? This is going to involve me doing some public lectures. Right? So it seems pretty obvious that I'm going to have to get good at speaking publicly if I want a career in philosophy. Prudence, or practical wisdom, pointed out to me in the first place that I had a deficient vice. Right? The same way it would point out if I were a hothead, or spoke too much, or any other sort of vice. Right? So prudence is that by which we discover that we've got these vices in the first place. Right? Second thing that prudence does, once I discover, okay, I've got this deficient vice with regard to public speaking. I can't bloody well do it. I've got to learn how to do it. I'm scared. I've got to retrain myself. I've got to rehabituate myself. Gee, how do I do that? Oh, common sense again. By public speaking a whole lot. Right? By paying attention to how I react in a public speaking situation and trying to improve it. How do I try to improve it? Prudence or practical wisdom again. Right? Using common sense rationality, deciding the best means to achieve my ends. Right? I know I want to be a philosopher. Right? Well, this habit's going to be a problem. Well, I want to change that habit. How am I going to do it? By habituating myself, by public speaking a whole lot. Did I do well, or did I not do well? Well, let's consider that, and try to employ different techniques to achieve my ends. Alright? So Aristotle wants to claim that prudence or practical wisdom is absolutely essential to the development of virtue of character or moral virtue. Alright? The two go hand in hand. Alright? moral virtue cannot achieve its own ends without the intellectual virtue of prudence, practical wisdom, or common sense. Right? Which allows you to choose the best means to attain your ends. But, just like moral virtue can't achieve its own ends without prudence or practical wisdom, prudence or practical wisdom can't achieve its ends, being happiness, without these good habits. So, that's more or less Aristotle's position. Thank you.